Yeah, it's Saunders C. Sojourner here, and I went by a lot of names back in the day, but I think this is the name that really settles with my heart and is something I can relate with. So this is what I'm gonna go by from now on, and I think this is the identity that um, I feel confident with. Not because I feel insecure about my identity, but more so it perfectly describes my experience and my narrative and who I am as a person. I have many names. I am a man of many names, as arrogant as that sounds. Um, but ultimately, it it is because I had a lot going on in life, and I inherited a lot of names and things like that. And that's not what I'm here for right now. I'm here to express about like how things have dramatically transpired for the past 5 years of my life. Now, for those of you that know who I am formerly, which I'm not going to really disclose in this video, it's not the time nor the place for it. I went through a lot in life, particularly concerning um, my dissatisfaction with the world and sort of just contemplating about my existence and desiring for change, right? I have this attitude and sort of this heart of a revolutionary, but fundamentally, I think I'm at a point in my life where that hasn't really changed. But what has changed is my approach and my thinking. And I don't think that a revolution of force and violence is necessarily going to change anything. I think fundamentally does not change the human heart, and it keeps us captive in our own psychological cage. So with that being said, I just want everybody to like understand that my position of my worldview has dramatically changed since basically the inception of 2019 and what happened that day. A lot of people who know me for a while since that year understand how much growth and change I went through and I foregoed, and a lot of ideas I also like now at this point in my life I simply do reject. They're not healthy for me, but also I have embraced new ideas that are much more optimal for anybody's mental health fundamentally. With that being said, um, I just want to say like I appreciate all of you guys for just hanging out with me, interacting with me, and just really getting to know who I am. Even though you do have a very finite understanding of who I am, because the reality is not everybody's gonna be able to like understand each other's story in a matter of seconds or days or whatever. Like it takes time. It takes interaction. It's a personal experience that needs to be undertaken so that you can be able to better understand who somebody is. You know what I'm saying? And you have to keep frequenting their existence, or not, or else you won't really understand who they are. Um, I gotta charge my phone. I gotta charge my phone. So like, you're gonna see this wire. Um, yeah, I mean, if you want to know who I am, my name is Hero. I am right now 24 years old. A lot of people know me in different names, and on the internet I have multiple aliases and multiple identities and things like that. It's not like anything kind of like I'm struggling with my own identity type sense, but kind of more like solidifying my identity as a human being, trying to figure out where I kind of fit in the narrative, in the stream of things. And yes, I do believe that there are fundamentally narratives in this world that need to play out, and fundamentally my life is an aspect of that narrative. Give me a second, let me get some drink. Shout out to my brother in Christ. He's an epic researcher. His name is Sean Sutton. Check out @oneman.com. I think that's his website. He's got really cool merch and stuff like that. And he forgot this bottle one time, and then And then I gave him a better bottle because I accidentally cracked the latch on this thing. So ever since then, I've just been using it. Anyways, so it's fundamentally very important that I introduce you to all who I am. I am 24 years old. I'm half Korean and half Japanese. I don't know, like, I've been going through all kinds of experience in life, ranging from changing school to like having a split parent situation. Having a stepfather was very awesome for what he did, but in certain aspects there were certain deficiencies that he wasn't able to keep up with because he wasn't able to resolve his own deficit in his own time, and as a result, it kind of led to a split. So now I'm just like with my mom, and I'm just basically like choosing to embark this task of responsibility. It's not easy, being the man of the household when you have a split family. It's very hard. And so there is a God, obviously. I don't want to say that in an arrogant sense, but for me, I'm very convicted on it. So that's why I say obviously, in relation to my experience in my life. I don't expect everybody to agree with my principle or my stance. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you are your own person. You are your own like individual entity. You have your own convictions. I'm not here to trample on it, But yeah, like, I mean, I experienced a lot in life, and I went from school to school. I came from the other side of the world. I was born in South Korea, lived there for a little bit until I was at the age of 4, and then I moved to Japan, and then kind of like lived in Japan for a little bit and moved back and forth. And keep in mind, like, even though like I was gone like for a long time, I came to the United States at 2008, like shortly after the economic crash, like 2007-ish. Japan never left me. Japan never left my heart. Korea never left my heart. It's still deeply ingrained, and all of these memories are still stored back here, and there's nothing you can do to like remove them. It's just fundamentally like seared into my mind. Judge me whether you're not, whether you want to, because I can't speak the language fluently or can't, be colloquial with people. It's fundamentally, it is not the metric of my performance that determines whether you are of that ethnic background or not. Fundamentally, if you are by blood, you are of that ethnic background. That's it. So that's simply the fact. Now, culturally, yeah, you may not be aligned with that, ethnic background, but fundamentally, you can't divorce your ethnic background. You know what I'm saying? It's just an aspect of you. Anyways, so I guess to go off on a tangent, what's cool is that at least like for religion, or like for Christianity, you aren't born into Christianity, or you aren't born into Hinduism. I mean, you can be, but fundamentally you can choose to stay, which is really the unique aspect about religion. Whether you can choose to stay as Buddhist, you can choose to stay as as someone who doesn't believe in anything. And this choice is really cool. It's called liberty of conscience. People need it. It's very important. It's an intrinsic aspect of human nature, or not just human nature, but it's an intrinsic aspect of the human itself. And to take that away from a human, it's the equivalent of death to that human. And yeah. I'm making this video because I need to catch up with not only to those who watch my content or my existence, but my friends. And you know who you are, each and every one of you. I have met you since I was very little, whether if it was 2nd grade, or whether if it was in 3rd grade, or whether if it's like literally like when I was 5 and I was on the other side of the world, or even my own family. This is for all of you. A lot has happened. 5 years, a lot can happen in 5 years. And for me, I'm very convicted that God has made me in the situation of being the forefront runner of this generation. What does that mean? fundamentally means like I've been tasked to send a message, to give a message to this entire world, through the youth of this generation and the next generation, that there is a merciful God. He does not condemn or judge. He does not kill nor destroy, and he has a mechanism of a principality of res that creation is designed for it, so that we can optimize our experience of receiving life. And another component being like there's a proper way to understand the mechanism of how he promises things to people and how man wants to uphold his promise, and how there's a contradiction in that framework. And then also there's this other aspect, and then there's another principle about how 2,000 years ago there was a man. Some say he's God, some say he's a prophet, some say he's whatever. But for me, fundamentally, I believe that he was the literal begotten Son of God. And as a result, it's very evident and clear to me that this truth does need to go out to the rest of the world. And then lastly, the truth concerning like how, and obviously my statement of truth is, yes, it can be my truth, but I'm just plainly laying it out that I feel like I'm very convicted that it's the truth, because of all of the things I had inherited and experienced for me to come to the conclusion. And we're gonna be in here a long time for me to try to like explain everything, but for the sake of this video, I have to keep it short. But yes, and then lastly, this idea that there is a movement every generation, every 4 generation or whatever, every historical generation, every ancient history as well, every account of history, there has always been a movement that has existed, that has been for this God, right? And what's cool is that it's been chronologically documented. Yes, it might be like a chore to like dig through, right? And yes, I'm referring to the Bible, but it's very legitimate, and at least personally for me, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I'm pretty convicted on this matter. And if you're willing to talk about it, I would definitely like make the time to like interact with you guys and really discuss about these subjects, because it's a very loaded subject, and I'm not in the mood for debates or anything. I just want like an honest discussion, sharing what I've learned, and then kind of like hearing the other people out. But at the end of the day, just kind of like exchange of ideas, even if we accept each other's ideas or not. I think ideas still need to be exchanged regardless. But yeah, so fundamentally, this is what I've been experiencing for the past 5 years. Now, 5 years ago, I had made a plan to start this, you could say, like an economic revolution. And at this point in my life, I've pretty much, in the past, like as we were getting closer and closer to 2024, I pretty much let like that plan was thrown out the window. However, as of recently, the concept of a 7-year plan was brought to my remembrance as I was spending my time at the Feast of Tabernacles, which is a biblical holiday actually, that is not widely celebrated. And it's not Christmas, it's not like Easter, but in fact this is a holiday that takes place during the fall. And as a result, I partake in this, and it's really cool. I get to meet a lot of awesome people, and for those of you that know about anime, it feels like as if I'm in a fairy tale guild. Like it feels like I'm in a guild, or like it feels like I'm in like in Katekyo Hitman Reborn, like Hitman Reborn. Like it's like this family, right? I feel like I'm in a part of this like family, you could say, not bound by blood or whatever, but bound by principle. I feel like I'm in a pirate crew almost. I feel like I feel like I'm a part of like the Hero Academy, you could say, or like something of that nature. When you compare this experience to that of anime, it feels like as if I'm a part of this giant unit that is scattered all throughout the world, and it's like fundamentally like clamored by like one cause, right? And rather not just a cause, but by principle, of what I've aforementioned described earlier, that I defined as my truth, that I feel like it's the truth. And it's been a while making these types of videos. I haven't made a video like this in a long time, and the last time I made one, I was pretty off the walls, and and now like I'm pretty sober. I've been like at least about 2 years sober now from the cannabis and things like that. I've been recently having struggles, but that's because I had my own unresolved like trauma from academia, and that kind of flared up, and I was having a hard time. But now I'm pretty sober right now, and I'm going to allow the opportunity to stay the way it is, because I have work to do. You know what I'm saying? I have things to get done. I have to set up myself for a future, and it's very clear that that in order for you to be a blessing unto, say, the next generation, you have to literally set a great example, and you cannot do it by brute force. You have to. It's a leap of faith. Shout out to Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse, for that kind of quote. Obviously, they probably derived it from other religious texts and things like that, but in the modern day, people only remember it from Spider-Man. So I just gotta still make a shout out anyways. I'm at a point in my life where I